The Couch Mob Reviews live podcast. My bad. Man, man, look, I am fired up right now. Let me introduce myself. I am Cray the Gatekeeper, along with my broadcaster partner. Go ahead and tell them who you are, man.
Man, this is World Bosco 360, man. Been gaming for a long time.
What's up, man? And look, it is the hot topic right now. We know what just dropped last night in the U.S. HBO
Oh
Max in
boy.
theaters. Yeah, we are here to talk about it. Now we know we've been gone for a little while. We still try to work on setting up the gaming stream for Twitch, setting the podcast up for Twitch also. But yeah, right now, man, the hot topic now is Mortal Kombat 2021. This movie just dropped last night, and yeah, there's some things that really need to be said about this. Just give you a little
Absolutely.
background. We both have been around since the '92 days when MK first dropped the arcades. I was actually in the arcades, and I was there in '95 when the original film dropped. I went to the theater to go see it, and I really enjoyed '95, and I still enjoy the '95 movie till this day. Now, 97 was a different story. And this was something I choose not to speak about afterwards since 97. But today, today made me realize that I had a whole new appreciation for what happened in
For 97.
1997. This movie was so bad that I acknowledged the unknowledgeable for so long. Mortal Kombat 2021 was an atrocity. I'm just going to come out and say it. And the only reason why I watched this movie was because a certain someone who shall not be named, but should not be named, but will be dealt with later on when that person gets back. Only reason why I watched the movie was because of this person. And this person had instant regret, as this person didn't realize the movie would be this bad. And I forced this person to finish watching this movie, as this person kind of forced me to watch this movie. So, so yeah, 2021, man. Um, Bosco, man. Your thoughts on this movie?
Well, first and foremost, man, before I give countless a negative, I want to give at least one positive. I love the casting of Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero is my favorite Mortal Kombat character, always have been since day one. And the person that they got to cast him, amazing.
Joe Taslim, yes. The Raid.
Now that that's out the room, that movie, I watched the movie with the family or whatever, and it started being one of those things that my son just came, Daddy, when Mortal Kombat coming out? Daddy, when Mortal Kombat coming out? And I'm like, you know what? I didn't want to ruin his hopes of anything he thought he was gonna see, because you gotta understand, my son is 10 years old, so his whole imagine of Mortal Kombat is vicariously through the game. You know what I'm saying? So he's thinking he's gonna see that on screen. Now, was I the asshole parent to have him believe that that's gonna happen, or was, what I'm saying, did I do the right thing to actually let him, you know what, let's go ahead and let's enjoy this all together. And so from the opening scene, that I could tell right there, what I'm saying, which have been said, that this is going to be a completely new, original, refreshed story. It's going to be a reboot to the series. And that's fine, because we're in a reboot era and we have been in there for some time, and it don't seem like we gonna leave anytime soon. But at the same time, when you're talking about rebooting something, you try to at least keep the same magic that captured you the first time. For the simple fact that I watched it with my 10-year-old, my 11-year-old, my wife, and my, well, 5-year-old, she been out of there, but them two, and for them to get the reaction that they got after the movie, I knew I wasn't wrong. And that reaction was basically, you could have kept that. And these are kids saying this. These are kids. who I'm sure, and even my wife said it. She said, maybe it's just catering towards the kids. Well, that could absolutely be true. But then again, don't try to capture the attention of us, who's been a fan of Mortal Kombat since, like C Ray has said, for over 25 years, almost 30 years. You know what I'm saying? This has been a part of our life. So to actually, what I'm saying, see a day where the Mortal Kombat could get the justification of a nice theatrical film, you know what I'm saying? It will only be hopes and wonder at this point, because we know how Hollywood has always been doing video game movies. And that's what people have to throw in the equation. When you guys give hopes to these movies, just remember the background. Video games movie have been failing for quite some time. C Ray, can you name at least three that has been good? And I'm not talking about the one that you're holding dear to your heart that you just won't let suck. I am talking about the ones that are just flat out video game. If video game was on a fucking goddamn film, this will be it. Can you name three of them?
Oh man, okay. Just let me just address this real quick. That it's obvious that Hollywood does not like video game movies. It's been a thing for a very long time. They deliberately go out their way to divert the story, to destroy the story, to ignore the law, to put their own quote unquote twist on things, to put their own vision
That
into the
doesn't need it, by the
movie,
way.
which
That
is
doesn't
really
need it.
doesn't need it. You could have an original idea. You could throw some of your original ideas that still stick close to the lore as the Mortal Kombat 1995 film did. Even though some inconsistencies was there with Shang Tsung controlling Scorpion and Sub-Zero, which I always thought was stupid. There
Oh
were
my
there were
god.
mindless drones in that movie. Yes, I hated the way both of them went out. At least we got to see Scorpion take off his mask, reveal the skull, and breathe the fire. That was cool to see. The way Sub-Zero went out with the water bucket, which still to this day I don't understand how he threw the bucket. No water splashed out. He swung the bucket so many times, and yet I still don't get that one. But anyway, it's like Sub-Zero was constipated. He was trying to release it through this. I don't know what he was doing, but he threw the bucket at this
Very
whole big.
misuse of that amazing actor. I'm sorry. Very
Yeah,
misuse. I'm sorry. Very, very.
Sub Zero and Scorpion kind of. Even though the fight scene with Johnny Cage and Scorpion was amazing to me, still to this day I still think it's one of the best fight scenes in a movie I've seen.
Oh yeah, on the bridge. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
Oh
pretty cool.
yeah.
Like that was awesome, dude. That was
Oh yeah.
amazing. But the way Sub Zero went out with the ice spike and he just froze and like, did anybody ever discover his body after that, or was he just stuck frozen? Like, did he? Never mind. Anyway, so to answer your question, man, I would say 1995 Mortal Kombat film is still probably the best video game film to this day.
Still holds up. I agree. I agree. Still holds up.
I
Absolutely.
watched it a few months
Absolutely.
ago, and I still have fun watching. And it felt like Mortal Kombat. Yes, it was cheesy, but that's what made it so unique in its charm. Johnny Cage, Linda Ashby is Johnny Cage to me. There would never be a better Johnny Cage until somebody actually puts him into the damn film again. Which brings
And
me,
he's a stamp, bro. Like he's a stamp character. Like how?
and we we
How
we're
do you
gonna
even
we're
think
gonna
of doing
discuss
it?
that. We're gonna discuss that after we get to your after we get through your question. So yes, Mortal Kombat 1995 is the first one I could think of. Now, I seen parts of Silent Hill, but I never seen the full movie.
Ah, I seen one when it first came out. I
Yes.
can't remember what year was that. I know it was quite some time ago, but
So I can't say personally, but from what I hear, Silent Film was actually a decent movie. I mean, but I can't say for myself, so I can't throw that in there. But honestly, I can't think of any except for Mortal Kombat 1995. I heard Assassin's Creed was garbage.
Oh
Warcraft,
God, I forgot that even exists.
yeah, I can't think of any. And that goes to show you the long lineage of trash video game adaptations into Hollywood. And it goes to show you they don't care. And because it correlates to what's going on in gaming now. Look what has happened to gaming now. With microtransactions, DLCs, the whole agendas being pushed to games or whatever. It all correlates in this entertainment industry where all of these medias are being destroyed by these quote politics and these horrible decisions that these companies are making. It goes to show you that they, for some reason, gaming is being targeted. And it's been targeted ever since these movies started popping up. Super Mario Brothers. Let's not even go to how bad that movie was, but yet
Ooh,
somehow it has this big, huge cult following today because instead of looking at it as
it's
a
so
Mario
bad. That's why,
movie,
bro.
it's so bad it became like this great
It's
early
so
'90s
bad, bro.
sci-fi masterpiece somehow.
I hate you brought that up. I hate you for that. Oh, I hate you for that. I wanted that memory to be gone, bro. I never wanted to think about that movie ever again in my life,
That
bro.
movie destroyed me as a child, bro. When I saw those,
Oh my god.
what was supposed to be Goombas, bro, I pretty much was done. I was terrified. They
For
were like these
one,
huge
for
things with the smallest heads I ever seen. That was scary to me.
for one, I agree with that.
How was Mario
And
supposed to jump on those?
for one, how was Yoshi surprised? Yoshi looked like he was dying. There was no way that Mario could have rode on Yoshi like he do in the video games.
All right, man. I think we kind of get it kind of off track right now, but let's keep it to Mortal Kombat 2021 right now. That's what we're reviewing.
I will say this, but before we get off this topic, to add to that 95 Mortal Kombat, I will say this, man. Shout out to the people who did that Mario. I mean, not Mario, but Sonic, because that Sonic, it needed that. It needed that. I think that's a good one for video game movies too. But
Yeah,
yeah, we keep
Sonic.
going.
Yeah, Sonic. So yeah. All right, man. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Johnny Cage not being in the film
Oh man,
and the reasoning behind it. Now I'm trying to
there's a
find the
reason. Is
yeah.
there? There's a reason. There's
Yeah.
actually a reason. Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So according to the director, which his name I honestly don't want to speak because he pretty much destroyed this franchise in one fell swoop. Um, the reason Johnny Cage supposedly wasn't in this movie was because he didn't want a white actor or too many white actors in a film that was supposed to be diverse, which should have been the biggest and the most telling story of how this movie is going to turn out. It's just the fact that you take the original character, one of the original characters of the game, who was in the first two games, by the way, and save him for what could be a sequel. And after seeing this movie, that's not a guarantee.
Oh, it's gonna get one. Oh, it's gonna get at least a sequel. It did just as good as that
Well, we
another
don't really know yet because the movie just released, so the numbers in the United States are not released yet. Now, once those numbers are released, is definitely going to tell the trajectory of this movie and what the sequel, if there will be a sequel, and what possibly could be in the sequel. But for right now, the end of the movie, yes, this will be a spoiler. The end of the movie did show Johnny Cage poster of Citizen Cage. And of course, they didn't show his face because they don't have the actor for the role yet. Again, this is all going off the assumption that there will be a sequel. After seeing this atrocity, it should not be a freaking sweet sequel. Even though
yeah,
Joe
it should not.
Taslim
I
said he
agree.
did sign on for 4 sequels, so it'd be for 4 movies. So supposedly it will get one. I don't think it will get one. It should have get one, but just so happens that it does get one. Johnny Cage will be the protagonist in the film. But they said they wanted someone that the audience can relate to introduce them to the universe. Okay, so now speaking as an MK fan myself, I don't need some moron who's matter of fact, I'm not even gonna call him by his name. in the film because honestly, he's not part of the lore. He was never part of. He wouldn't even fit into the Street Fighter universe. This is how terrible this character was. That I'm gonna call him generic because he is the most generic person I ever seen. That was supposed to be a bridge between the film and the audience.
Who
This
are we talking about
guy,
again?
generic. The guy who never showed up in any lore ever in Mortal Kombat, but somehow was the center of this movie.
Oh man. Oh, you know what, man? Yeah, keep going.
So generic is this MMA fighter because apparently that's the only type of fighter people know now. He had to be an MMA
Absolutely.
fighter.
He's
So and apparently he's not a good
definitely
one
his
considering
name is Default.
he got mopped in his fight, and apparently he's
In
known
almost
for
every scene.
yeah somehow has this mark that he was born with that it links him to Jax because Jax instead of being a part of the special forces that was looking to take down the Black Dragon, we have him looking for this mark and the bloodline of Hanzo, who saw in the opening of the film, try to fight off the Lin Kuei and eventually being killed by Sub Zero. And I would say this at the beginning of the movie, it seemed like it was a whole different movie from what we saw afterwards. It's like two films were shot. The opening was pretty good. The fighting was good, even though the
I
story of
agree.
the
I
baby
agree.
being put down in the well, and even that was a deviation from the story because none of his clan or his family survived. But the baby, who found the baby? Oh, yeah, that's right. Raiden found the baby. That's right.
Yep, 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 yep.
We gonna get to Raiden in a second. But the opening of the film was pretty cool. I did like that. I mean, it was good fighting. The setup was really good. It showed how ruthless Bihan was. And yeah, then we transition to the modern day. You see generic in his MMA fight, getting ready backstage. Oh man, he just get washed. He gets mobbed, and somehow he's supposed to be the protagonist of this film. So, I mean, what did you think of the opening sequences of the film, man?
I thought the opening was pretty good. Like I said, I am a stand over the guy who plays Sub Zero. And like you said, man, the fighting was very top notch. It looked like it could have, if anything, it could have set the tone for the movie because before I even seen the movie, I heard a lot about the choreograph in that movie, choreography or whatever, and I did hear that it was pretty good. And I'm like, well, it's in good hands. So, but to what they did that I really I was really mad at is the default character. Um,
Default. That's a good one. Call
him
him Default. I'm calling him
default. There you
Default
go.
from now on.
Yep, the default. Um, this guy,
Yeah.
as the movie was going on, again, it's spoiler. You know what I'm saying? I personally thought it was Takeda. I'm not even gonna lie.
Which probably would have
I
made more
personally,
sense
it
considered
would have
to
made so much sense because Takeda has those weapons. He have them. He have them. They're more like sabers a little bit, but that was closely to it could have been Takeda than not. But then when I'm like, no, that don't make sense because there's no hints at Kenchi at all. At all. I don't even think they're ever even gonna throw him in the universe.
and it wouldn't and to add on to that, it wouldn't have worked in the timeline. But considering what happened to the story and the lore, it seemed like it would have never made a damn difference to begin with because none of the timeline added up or made sense. This was supposed to be a prequel to the tournament. Yeah, Mortal Kombat is based on the tournament, but somehow this movie has no tournament. But yeah, go on.
But yeah, man. Again, you know what I'm saying, the opening scene, which is crazy because the best scene was the scene that was everywhere. It was on YouTube. You go to HBO Max and watch just that scene before that movie came out. So that scene was highly praised across before the whole movie even dropped. I'll say another thing that I forgot to throw out the casting for Kano. I like him. I'm not gonna lie. For some odd reason, he reminds me of Conor McGregor,
Yeah, his
and
name
that's what
is
the fuck you
Josh
need.
Lawson. Yeah, he played Kano. Definitely.
That's who, and that's what happens. That's what needs to happen to Conor McGregor in real life. Every time he talk, he just really need to get hit, and that's what Kano did in that whole movie. Every time he said something, he just got fat on. But I really like I like that Kano. Um, but another problem that I really had with Jazz, aka Terminator Arms, is this is my thing. These powers that are hidden within these chosen
Arcana, I think
ones.
they called it Arcana.
You know,
Mm.
so are we going to, it's an awakening power? Is that what we're doing? This is awakening power that all these people that's chosen have to find. And for one, I'm still as confused to how fucking goddamn Sonya got them plasma hands. How did she get that again?
Okay, so to backtrack just a little bit, man. Going back to Cole. The default. My bad. I'm sorry. Default. Going back to default. So he catches Jax. Well, Jax catches up with him, and we see them at a restaurant or whatever. And I guess his sister or whatever is eating outside, and all of a sudden it started snowing. Like that's really that's a very covert way of showing up Sub Zero. By the way, just letting people know it's snowing in July. And yeah, okay. So Sub
I
Zero's
didn't even think about that.
one of the
You're right.
probably the deadliest person in the movie. He shows up right and start making it snow, so to speak, and dropping hell bombs everywhere. So you mean to tell me that this guy could create ice weapons and everything? But once Jax tell Cole and his we default and his family to get in the truck, you mean to tell me that he could create weapons that could kill people in an instant, but yet he can't generate snowballs that break his glass? Is it snow proof? I don't get what's going on here. Anyway, he gets out the ride. Once Subs traps him in the alley, and he gets out the ride, tells him to go take care of his family. I mean, why would you just back? You stood there, you watched it for like a good 25 seconds before you decided to get out the car. None of this, nothing backing away and driving out somewhere else did it occur to you in that time. You get out of the car where a guy could pretty much just appear out of nowhere and slide off and easily kill his family if he wanted to. But you take a weapon against a cryomancer that has been known to destroy people just by creating ice weapons, and you try to shoot the guy. It didn't occur to you he could easily freeze your weapon and just kill you right then and there. Like, what was the logic behind this scene?
Well, these are the same people who shoots at a fucking goddamn 350-foot monster. I don't know if anybody ever see Chinese versus America, but then Chinese and America come together to stop something that Chinese created. I'm just throwing that out there.
Anyway, this whole chain of events, it leads up basically. It leads up to Cole running into Sonya Blade or whatever, who's living in a trailer. But I still don't understand where that came from. Like, what? The set, I mean, I'm going to say the environment, the set piece of this movie was not that great. It
At
wasn't.
all.
It felt cheap. It felt halfway done. And I felt like the atmosphere from the 95 film was far better. It was shot in a freaking warehouse in Los Angeles, California. And those scenes and set pieces are by far better than what I've seen in this film. Just because something is shiny and new doesn't mean it's better. This still felt cheap. And the thing is, I think this had a lower budget than the 95 film when you count inflation. So I don't understand what they was going for here with these scenes and set pieces. Anyway, so apparently Sonya is part of the special forces, but she like this conspiracy theorist who has like this whole tech thing in her trailer or whatever. And we get introduced to Kano who's chained up in like this, I guess, is this hidden compartment or whatever. This is how you introduce Kano to the movie. Already captured. Just no setup, no chase, no anything. He's just there chained up. I still don't understand the point. I still don't understand the plot of this movie. I really don't, because going back to the lore, for what I understand is that Kano and Sonya are bitter rivals because Kano was was supposed to be an informant for the special forces. Turned out he was the leader of the Black Dragon they was looking for. He killed her partner, and she been after him ever since. I don't get the part where he's chained up and he's still alive. Don't you think if Sonya would have captured him, that he would have been dead by now?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, I'm going by the lore. I don't care what the movie tried to do. This movie failed epically before we go on to begin. I mean, to begin with. So what I'm saying is this: you don't give any build up. At least in the '95 film, you got where people was coming from, what their mission was. Like Sonya and Jackson Raven was going through the rave and trying to track down Kano and whatever. You had Johnny Cage filming a scene trying to prove that he was like not this paper champion that you saw in the films, that he was an actual martial artist. You have Liu Kang dreaming about the or having a nightmare about the death of his brother by the hands of Shang Tsung. You had all of these setups to introduce these characters, but yet you just have Kano just appear from a hidden compartment. It boggles the mind, man. So yeah, yeah. I mean, I, what do you say after that?
There's really not much to say, man. Like I said earlier, we're in this whole reboot state. You know what I'm saying? And everything, they feel like everything deserves a reboot, a retold, a re everything. And you know what I'm saying? As we all know, that has not been working for quite some time. And it goes with the saying that Hollywood's been bleeding for a very long time. If you guys don't believe that, then check out anything that came out this year amidst of the pandemic, because all this shit was still getting filmed in the midst of the pandemic. That's why a lot of this shit is failing. You know what I'm saying? Like, for the simple fact that I'm not sure if you got around to ever seeing it, or if you're gonna get around to ever seeing it, but I haven't seen it for myself. I really don't care to. But the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, it was so bad that they actually did some reshoots from last year. Now, the reshoots that they did last year, you can tell that they added to a movie that came out in 2017. For the simple fact, Ben Affleck is a different size. He's bigger, as in like fat bigger, as in like he was quarantined before he started filming again. So that goes to show you like how far Hollywood will go to just get something, just make it happen. And rather if it's cared enough to even be good, because again it's Hollywood, so you know they don't care. Definitely about video games. Definitely about video games. Like you said, they've been targeted for so long. So having a video game in cinema, you know what I'm saying, is just it's just highway robbery. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's a cash grab because it's the name, but then is it the quality of the name? Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? We all know, well, I hope we do, you know what I'm saying, how great Monster Hunter is. Monster Hunter is a great franchise. But I'm sorry, anything involving T.I. will not be involved in. Which, by the way, Kevin Hart is stated to start in the new Borderlands movie. And I'm not lying about that.
Well, we gonna have that's gonna be a different topic for a different day. But let's focus on the
Absolutely.
abomination that they call Mortal Kombat right now. And the what's so bad about this movie right now? Now, you know what? Before we continue on, let's go into the pros of the movie, right? So we discussed
Okay.
the opening scene of the movie, which is a great scene, by the way. And it seemed like it was shot for a different film because it does not fit into anything else after this movie until the last 20 minutes of the movie. Um, so this is summarize the movie. They meet up with Sonya and whatever, and they travel. They're being invaded. He's been informed that he's being tracked down by Shane Song, and we're gonna get into all of these characters later on in this review. We're gonna get into that, but he learns that he's the bloodline of Hanzo Hisashi, and and in order to fight off and that's the reason for the more they're trying to eliminate his bloodlines before the tournament begins, which is whatever. And we're gonna get into the tournament and the rules again because apparently nobody could understand what the rules are for this tournament. I mean, even in the '95 movie, I don't think even Ed Boon knows at this point what the rules of the tournament are. I mean, the whole lore has been shot to crap, but we're gonna discuss that later on. But he learns he's the bloodline of Hanzo. He has to find his Arcana, which is why he goes see the monks. And Liu Kang and Kung Lao and Raiden, blah blah blah, trying to train them to learn their Arcana. And there's a few scenes that was very humorous. Of course, that was due to Kano, the actor who played Kano, which he was funny. I will admit he was good.
Yeah, yeah, he
I
was. He
enjoyed
was. I
Kano.
get
He
it.
actually sounded like Kano. Now, as far as the look, I mean, he was a big guy. I mean, I could deal with his aesthetic as Kano. That's fine. I would prefer the little darkest skin complexion with the metal eye and the whole, and the bald head. The way Kano, I feel like Kano is supposed to be, or what we see from the latest games. But that's neither here nor there. But I could deal with him. Now, he goes to learn his Arcana. He's still getting washed and mopped and trashed all over the place. Um, and they're trying to dig into like what makes their Arcana come to life. So for Kano, it's him being disrespected, his anger, and for default, it's his family, and for Jax, and we're going to discuss Jax also because we have to figure out why did this happen. It was his arms. It's weird the way they
Yeah,
did it, the way they
yeah.
set it
I didn't
up.
get that one. I didn't get
Yeah.
that one at all.
So he learns that he has to channel these special powers in order to fight off the armies. Um, that consisted of Shang Tsung, Cabal, Raiko, of all people. I'm still trying to figure out where that came from. Melina with the with the cake smeared on her face. Um,
That was supposed to be Jaws, but I get what you said.
Real, I thought it
That
was
was definitely supposed to be
I
her
just thought it
teeth.
was chocolate cake that was stained so bad she couldn't wipe it off
Yeah,
anymore.
I honestly thought it was dried blood that she didn't wipe off. Yeah, I agree.
So and we have these scenes where and basically it ends up with them. It ends up with this is a spoiler. It ends up with him and Scorpion having to team up to fight against Sub Zero. Even though beforehand they say we all have to team up to go fight him, somehow it ends up just being him and Scorpion. It was weird the way this whole thing was set up. But let's get to the pros of the movie. The choreography was okay. It wasn't great. And it was really only good in the first scene and in the last fight scene between Sub Zero and Scorpion. Aside from that, it was way too many cuts. Um, way too
So
many.
pretty much the
It
scene.
was not enough focus on one fights. It was random fights. I feel like everything was pieced together. There was no ebb and flow. It felt randomized. That's basically where. But again, it was just okay. It wasn't nothing mind blowing. Um, the aesthetic. Okay, that's this Sub Zero, Scorpion. The actors who played Hanzo and Bi-Han were okay, especially when it came to the fights and the chemistry they had on scene together. I felt the storyline. I felt the story between them. They acted out pretty well. That I would
Yeah, I
give.
believe they worked together before. I want to say
Oh
that
yeah, of
the
course they
chemistry
yeah
between them. Yeah, the chemistry between them was amazing. Yeah.
yeah. So I would give them that. And Kano, we got to give it to Josh Lawson as Kano. Kano was pretty cool. Now there's people saying that this Kano was better than Trevor Goddard's Kano. Rest in peace, Trevor Goddard. But I will only say that people are saying that because it's fresh on their minds, and the fact that this Kano was in the movie longer than the original Kano was. I feel like that's where that comes from. And this movie was longer than the original movie also, so he had more screen time. But not to take away from his performance because he had energy, he had charisma, he had the look, he had the voice, he had decent lines, he had the comedy relief. I felt like he did a good job as
Yeah.
Kano. So I would give them definitely Kano. Kung Lao. I thought Kung Lao looked like Kung Lao from the outfit to the face to the hat. I thought his aesthetic was dope. I thought it was pretty good. I liked that Kung Lao. Dude was kicking butt. He was a smart mouth too. It was like I like the exchange him and Kano had. That was great. I like that. Kung Lao was a standout to me too. I like Kung Lao. And let's talk about Sub Zero, dude. Sub Zero was a absolute monster in this movie.
Absolutely.
And somebody,
Absolutely.
as both of us are Sub Zero fans since '92, bruh. Finally, Sub Zero got the respect he
The best
deserves
Sub
in this
Zero.
movie.
I told my boy last night. I said the best Sub Zero casting I ever seen, and that's absolutely what you needed to do. You needed to dig in the archives of actual martial arts cinema and go find somebody over there because that cinema is amazing. As C Ray know, that cinema is literally you could just live off that cinema, like straight up. You know what I'm saying? It has everything. And to get somebody like that who's highly profiled and highly praised in that world to introduce them in such a big franchise as my favorite character was really big for me. Really big. So, you know what I'm saying? As far as Sub Zero character, he did an amazing job. I love the look. I love the fighting. I even like the effects that Sub Zero had in there. You know what I'm saying? So so yeah, big praises and a big pro to Sub Zero.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Joe Taslim did a great job of Sub Zero. Sub Zero, as far as the fighting, the threat he presented in the movie was top notch. That's how Sub Zero, for the most part, Bihan. Let's focus on Bihan because Bihan was more of pretty much a assassin more than his younger
he
brother
was
Kuai Liang.
he was definitely the headstrong, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I will use muscle to conquer versus smarts. He definitely was that. Not saying he wasn't a smart person, but he definitely
Now,
was the one
he was
on
more
the front
ruthless than
line.
Kuai Liang. He was far more Bihan was far
Absolutely.
more ruthless than Kuai Liang. That's what it was. So and the ruthlessness that Sub Zero presented in this movie was great. And the fact that it showed how big of a threat he was, where Default and Scorpion had to work together to take him down. The fact that throughout the whole movie, it was shown that look, we can't take him down by ourselves. It's going to take a team effort to take down Sub Zero. That
Absolutely.
threat, he should have been the main villain through the whole movie. Really, it was, and he was for the most part. I mean, as far as that was the climax, taking down Sub Zero. And that is going to lead into a con we're going to discuss in a few about how Sub Zero was taken out, which was kind of done very poorly. But Sub Zero was probably the biggest pro in this whole movie for me. Like it was great to see him portrayed as a huge threat, portrayed in such an imposing, intimidating way that it made at least it gave some stakes to the movie, even though there was no tournament involved in this film. And but as far as the pros go, I really think that's it. Honestly, I think that's far as the pros go. Now the cons is what brought us here today. The cons. And let's start with the biggest con in the room, which is default.
Oh,
Completely
man.
unnecessary. If a tagline was ever
Unnecessary.
if a tagline was ever needed, it was completely unnecessary. There was no need for him in this film. And the only way you can make him feel somewhat important was the fact that he was a descendant of Hisashi. If that was the length that you needed to go to kind of introduce us to the universe or make him feel important in some way, shape, or form, you should have threw that away. That should have been thrown away. Yeah, man. So Cole, me default. I can't call this character by anything but default.
Default.
There was no need for him in this film. He was basically Johnny Cage's replacement. Let's be real. Let's call it what it is. He was Johnny Cage's replacement because apparently in this new woke culture, blah blah blah, they didn't want to have a white savior. Then they would use the excuse that he was saved for the sequel. And it was said that the fault was actually a studio decision rather than a creative one, which seems to be the case because even at the beginning of the movie, it seems like Sonya was really the focal point because she done more in this movie, um, pretty much more in this movie than Default did, and obviously the film should have been centered around her for the most part. Even though that Sonya, she was a decent character. I wouldn't say she was the best character in the film, but as far as
She was a decent look. I'll say that. She was a decent look.
yeah,
Like if I would have to imagine a Sonya Blade, I will probably imagine her. Definitely not Ronda Rousey because she
yeah.
was up for grabs in that movie.
Uh,
I'm glad they didn't go with her. But
I,
yeah,
yeah, I would say that you could tell by the way certain scenes were shot and the dialogue that they gave her and the task that she was given in the film, she was definitely the one that the film should have been centered around. Now, as far as the story and the lore, that's just it's all over the place. But Default failed. We didn't need this because in the first film we had Liu Kang, and in the second film we had Liu Kang. Liu Kang, they wanted to make Default this quote unquote relatable character that the fans were supposed to hold on to be point of view to be inside this universe, and it failed because there was no connection. Because number one, it disrespects the lore, it slaps fans in the face, and you deliberately took out Johnny Cage, which already pissed a lot of fans off, and you insert this unknown, very weak, very weird character into this role, and the actor didn't deserve this at all.
no,
Louis
no, it
Louis
didn't.
Tan, because I hear he's a great actor. I'm not that familiar with Louis Tan, but I hear he's a good
Yeah,
actor.
not at all.
Yeah,
I'm not at all. Not at all.
but
I was gonna ask you, do you know any of his back work too? I
no,
was gonna ask that, but
no, this is a spur of the thing moment thing. We didn't really just bother to do a whole lot of research. We got stuff to pull up here if we need to. But as far as just the role he was placed in, the role was unnecessary because it was already said that the role was created by the studio. So this was a studio decision. So this was obviously a last minute thing. It was crammed in, which is why the movie was probably delayed to begin with. Not just because of this whole quote unquote pandemic, but that's a whole different topic for another day.
numerous
But
of delays though. Numerous of delays.
yeah,
Went
it
through
was
three
delays,
directors, a shitload
right?
of producers. Oh yeah,
Yeah. So
numerous.
this was obviously a write-in. This was not a part of the original script, and it shows. It shows because he had terrible lines. There was nothing. It was nothing really important about the guy except for the fact that he was the bloodline of Hisashi. Aside from that, what purpose did he serve? He was a conduit for the events that took place. But that was a very weak reason. It's a reason that was not needed. What they could have done was just focus on what happened between Scorpion and Sub Zero, and it carried on for these years or whatever. What bothered me about this film is it didn't even show the transition of Scorpion. Like it didn't show him in the Nether Realm and how he became Scorpion,
Nope.
and none of that. That could have been a great expedition to what to the events that occurred. Like it could have been a mess of things that was going on in the background as opposed to just making him the focal point it brought Scorpion and Sub Zero together for this final battle. That was really unneeded. They could have made him Johnny Cage or like you said Takeda, but even in the timeline where it doesn't make sense, this whole story, this whole plot didn't make sense. So why not make him Takeda, or why not make him Johnny Cage? But yeah,
Yeah, I think that was a very poor studio decision to not have the focal point of your stamp characters, as in that's who this whole movie and cinema is built around. Because, like you said, I would have loved just the whole rivalry between Sub Zero and Scorpion being the whole focal point. That'd have been cool for me. You know what I'm saying? Because these characters are very important to the lore of Mortal Kombat. And then, not to even mention, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, Scorpion goes off. Well, Hanzo goes off screen for a very long time and comes back as Scorpion with no explanation, no none of that. And you know what I'm saying? He comes back with this whole saying that he said earlier in the film, remember this face. And that's cool and all, but like you said, I would have loved to see some what happened in between. You can't just set me here for, I think it was a good 9 minutes in the film before, you know what I'm saying, and then it was an hour and 35 minutes later before we seen him again
there's a
as Scorpion.
whole there's a whole lot
That's
in
a
bet that's a whole lot in
that's a
between
long
they could
time.
have done with the score.
And I
Whole
mean,
lot.
not even was he even like talked about for real. You know what I'm saying? It was like he was almost a forgotten cast. And Scorpion is in this movie. You know why? Because he's on a damn poster. You know, that kills me. You got Scorpion, Sub Zero, the main face of this movie. You're selling this poster as the movie guaranteed.
Right.
But at the same time, you're showing me Hanzo for the first 5 minutes and Scorpion for the last 5 minutes?
And you posted
Like,
those first
where am
five
I going?
minutes. And you posted those first 5 minutes all over the internet, by the way.
All over the internet. Everywhere was Mortal Kombat opening scene. If you got HBO Max, that was the scene you could exclusively watch before the movie came out. So that scene was everywhere. So I'm sure everybody who wanted to spoil it for themselves or was somewhat familiar with Mortal Kombat at least watched that scene. Don't believe me, it's millions of views on YouTube. It's millions of views. So people was watching that scene, very well familiar with that scene. So with that scene not even showcasing Scorpion, you gotta wait to watch the whole movie. In the last 5 minutes of the movie, you get to see him. That right there was a very bad studio decision to me. Very bad. Because now the tournament, of course, is the story. And I'm pretty sure Default is going to be a part of that story as well. So you're gonna just have Scorpion and Sub Zero in the background, got their own thing going while this tournament's going. Because because my thing is, if there's the setup for the sequel, I get it, Johnny Cage and all that. But what about them two? What about them two? I don't think it's even possible to do a Mortal Kombat without involving them two.
Well,
I'm so,
they well they did a Mortal Kombat without involving Johnny Cage, so there's that.
well, that is, I agree, but I mean the stamps though, the super stamps. And I get it, you know what I'm saying? Johnny Cage is definitely a stamp. Definitely. Definitely. And here's the thing, I later found out that he wasn't going to be in that movie. I didn't know at first. I'm like, are you serious? How are you not going to have what, the first 8 characters? How are you not? Wait, I don't even think it was 8.
It
Was
was
it 8?
it was seven,
7? Okay.
seven
How are you
selectable characters.
how are you not involving at least them? I remember Jackson Molina appeared in 2. I remember that.
But you had Natara, and we're gonna get to Natara later on too, because and it's going back to the we're going back to the cons right now as far as the fault. We is we know that's the big elephant in the room. Second con I want to discuss is the fact that this might be the worst rating of all time, without question.
Definitely the most useless. Definitely. He
This
proved almost no purpose in that movie. I'm just the dude to get y'all out of situations and tell y'all how bad a situation is and then put y'all right back in that situation.
it goes to show that
That's
no
all he
one
did.
knows the rules of Mortal Kombat because even he said he couldn't involve himself with what was going on, only to involve himself later on by saving the cast and bringing them to the void. But yeah, you could have saved Kung Lao before that. You actually watched him get soul sucked by the worst, by a worse Shane song than Brian Locke from Conquest. I'd rather watch Mortal
Oh my
Kombat
god.
Conquest Shane song than this Shane song here.
Bro, I swear on everything. For the first two appearances of him, I was trying to figure out who the hell he was. I said, there's no way. When that man said, your soul is mine, I said, oh, are, wait, what? For one, he looks too nice.
He looks dirty.
Shang Tsung has like a
He
real, like, grimy looking face.
he looked like a dirty beggar.
Dirty beggar.
Yeah, he looked like a dirty beggar. Why? Are we going to get to that in a minute? We're gonna get to that in a minute about not being able to recognize certain characters because that's going to be another con. But yeah, you make a good point about not being able to recognize Shane Song because I thought the way he looked, the way he was. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, I recognized who it was when he first appeared into the film because of where it took place and where he was stepping down from. Like, this can't be Shane Song. This cannot be Shane Song. But the characters as a whole, Raiden, this was absolutely the worst Raiden I have ever seen in my life. I couldn't even understand 99% of what the guy was saying through the
Oh,
whole
is he
film.
worse than James Raymer? He's worse than James
Yes,
Raymer?
he is worse than James
He's worse
Reamer.
than James Raymer. Oh.
And James
I'm sorry, 1 second, bro. Phone call.
Yeah, sorry about that, folks, but yes, he is worse than James Reamer. James Reamer gets a pass for being Ajax in the Warriors. Okay, he's Ajax. He
Oh,
is
I love the Warriors, man.
Ajax.
Absolutely.
So I gave James Reamer a pass. Yes, because he's Ajax. I can't hate on Ajax. But I will say this: before this film came out, yes, he was by far the worst rating. It was not even a question until last night. James Remar has been redeemed by default because this rating could barely speak English, and that's no fault of the. I mean, I can't really blame the act, but his portrayal of Raiden that I can't blame the actor for. It was absolutely atrocious. Who thought this was a good idea? I was hearing people, yeah, oh, great, Raiden is Japanese, not understanding that Raiden it comes from Chinese lore. So these people are not only confused, but they're racist also.
Uh-huh.
Um, Raiden, this Raiden, and Phaelus had this joke about Raiden for Conquest being the god of useless. I think Phelan owes Jeff Meeks an apology because this Raiden here was the absolute god of useless. I mean, how was Default taller than Raiden? Isn't Raiden supposed to be like 7 foot, 250 pounds or something like that? Why was this guy 4'11, 180? Why was he so small? He didn't seem like a thunder god at all. and the lighting effect on his eyes
A
killed
Thunder
me.
Child. Yeah,
Ah,
and I was gonna say that earlier. That's another misleading casting right there, because without those eyes, you wouldn't tell. And it's not that Raiden have like a stamped face to him, but he does have like a again like one of them looks that stands out. And that Raiden just does not stand out to me. And to go back to James, I like James. I like James as the Raiden now. I really do. I appreciate him a little bit more because at least they tried with him. At least they tried. It was just bad casting, but they did try to put him together as Raiden. It's like this guy. They just told him the day of he was going to be Raiden. What does Raiden do? Just read your lines.
it
Excuse
was
me.
one scene in this movie last night. I really don't even bother to remember, but I remember something being said to this raid, and all this he just gave this look like, yeah, like he gave just like this little slight nod. I'm like, bro, was that supposed to be a line, or what was that supposed to be? What were you acknowledging? What was going on at that moment? This rating was this rating was butt juice. I'm sorry, this rate and look, this was not the right role for that actor. It was not.
Absolutely not.
I don't know how many people that auditioned for Raiden, but apparently not enough. Why did it even get Jeff? That would have taken Jeff Meeks as Raiden from Conquest than this guy. No, the casting was horrible in this film. Liu Kang looked like Liu Kang if he was 15 years old. Liu Kang looked like he was still in high school.
And that's not a shot at that Liu Kang, because he does look like he could be Liu Kang. It's
If he
just
was,
that not Liu Kang in this timeline.
yeah,
In this timeline, not that Liu Kang.
no,
He looked like he could play the Liu Kang when Liu Kang
was still carrying
first.
backpacks.
There you go. There
Yeah.
you go. I was about to say something a lot more, but there you go. Definitely on the guidelines of that.
Yeah, Liu Kang. Yeah, he looks. And it's funny because the person I was watching the movie with last night, she was like, "Is that supposed to be Liu Kang? He looked like a teenager." I was instantly put off because yes, that's exactly what he looked like. He was like teenage Liu Kang that was listening to K-pop bands. He does not. No, that Jax or Steve Harvey, as we like to call him. Wasn't terrible, but he pretty much was just. What was Jack's purpose in the movie? Can anybody describe to me what Jack's purpose in the movie was? Crickets. Yeah, exactly. Because that's exactly what I'm trying. I'm still trying to figure out to this day what was his purpose.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. but shout out to Steve Harvey, man, because that definitely was him. Oh, oh, that's funny.
What was his purpose in the film?
To be like that black dude who say random black shit every once in a while. You know, come on out. Oh, these motherfuckers work. Like, man, get the fuck. Oh my god, bro.
Hold up, is Saber from American Gladiator still available to play Jack? Because I would have taken him.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. That was good jazz casting. I'm not gonna lie. That was really good.
I would have taken Saber from American Gladiators over this Jax here. This guy served no purpose. It served absolutely no purpose at all. I can't remember anything that was really memorable by the guy except for he looked like Steve Harvey. I think they probably casted him thinking he was Steve Harvey. And they say we got a big name like Steve Harvey in the movie. Because aside from that, I can't think of any purpose why this guy was in this film. It's like him and Sonya didn't even know each other. Did they know each other? I'm still trying to figure out the point of this movie and the plot of this movie.
Yeah, they did mention is that they do have back history together, but their chemistry was like almost like they were a stranger. I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but she did mention that what I'm saying they do have some history.
Let's get to Melina, chocolate face. Let's get to chocolate face.
Oh man,
Now, why the
beautiful
mask?
girl by the way. She's
Why
very
the
pretty.
why the mask wasn't included? I do not know.
At all, at all, at all though. Like not even like
There
that's
was
how you just go outside, bitch, every day, really. Yeah,
there
right.
was no reveal. There was no build up. It was just her with her mask off. There was nothing. It was just like she was there. It's like she was just there. Now we could get into why the character was darker skinned and all of that, blah blah blah, whatever.
Oh man,
We could get into all of that all day
we can
long.
say that for another time too.
Yeah, it's not really it's not really important for the purpose of this review. The problem is with
Not at all.
Melina, there was no build up to, there was nothing to her. And she pulled off a few moves for the game, all of that. That was cool to see moves from the games, but aside from that, there was no build up. I mean, when we first see Melina, we don't even see the T. We didn't even see the T till one scene, to like at the end of the movie.
And that's not Melina's teeth. Like
We didn't
Melina's teeth are way more gargoyle-ish than that.
we didn't even see the T till really the end of the movie, to the climax of the movie, the third act. We didn't see anything, no build up, no mass reveal, no nothing. They could have built up to it. They didn't even bother to do that. And can we get into Reptile? What the hell was that?
Oh man,
Re-
you know what, bro? I straight forgot that poor, horrible CGI use of Reptile was even in that movie. For the simple fact that it was a given when it came in there and it was invisible and it made all those noises. You know who that was. Now the whole thing is, what I'm saying, the big surprise would have been how is he gonna look? Man, when that damn thing got on screen and looked like God, what are those it looked like one of those monsters that's in Donkey Kong Country. You know the little lizard things with the swords?
no,
Like it looks like that.
we watched the same movie, right? We watched Mortal Kombat 2021, right?
I will think so. It's the only Mortal Kombat right now that's being talked about. So, yeah.
So when they revealed Reptile, I thought this movie switched from Mortal Kombat to Soul Calibur because I thought that was Lizard Man, not Reptile. I thought somehow this was a crossover between Mortal Kombat and Soul Calibur because what I saw was not Reptile. What I saw was Lizard Man. I don't know how he snuck his way into this film, but he managed to do it.
Yeah, he got on set somehow. I agree.
That was pitiful, which makes me appreciate the 1995 version of Reptile much more because we actually got to see Reptile. No matter how stupid it was that he turned into his ninja form, we got to see his ninja form. And it was awesome between him and Liu Kang in that fight scene.
Yeah, no, that was him and Raiden.
No, I'm talking about, no. That was Liu Kang. In the original Mortal Kombat, that was Liu Kang and Reptile. Cause that's when the bicycle kick was revealed. And that's how he finished off Reptile, was with the bicycle kick.
Who fought who fought Raiden in two? The Visible People. They were crawling the walls and stuff. Was that
Oh,
reptile again?
that was no, that was reptiles people. Like that was like yeah, that wasn't reptile itself. So
Oh, okay, okay,
yeah,
okay.
so this reptile just lizard. It's lizard man. That's what he was lizard man, and he lasted all of but one scene with for like 3 minutes until Kano finished him out with the heart fatality, which was, whatever. I mean, for me, the whole fatality and the blah blah blah. The scene, the point
Yeah,
was
that was too many like unnecessary quotables that they was using in that movie.
they was
Finish
trying to
him.
they trying to
Fatality.
mask the
Flawless victory. Like, man,
yeah.
come on.
It felt forced. It really just felt
It
forced.
definitely did.
Yeah. And they're trying to mask the bad story and the plot and the bad, aesthetic of the characters with these fatalities, all of that. Ooh, see, and I see comments like that all the time. I'm gonna go ahead and say the simple-minded people are so easily impressed by that. I mean, we've seen this fatality so many times. Like seeing it in a movie does nothing for me. Me, I'm the lore guy of Mortal Kombat. I'm much more into how you present the story, not just the story, but how you present it. And even if you're gonna put your own twist or spin on it, it's how you execute it. And this movie was poorly executed, which goes into another con is the poor execution of the plot. It was just all over the place. None of it really added up at all. We see Default, who got trashed through the whole movie, ends up calling the shots, telling who to go where, fight this, fight that, fight them, fight here. And it didn't even set up to anything. It was just all of a sudden you go fight, you go fight. There was no inner. It was just you fight this person, you fight that person, and he ends up fighting Goro. Goro, who all we ever got through the whole movie was Prince Goro. No backs. That was it. This guy who can barely fight ends up fighting the champion of Mortal Kombat in a
And
scene.
killing him.
Yeah, lead up to the point in the scene where he should have died 5 seconds into the fight. We see Goro jump up into the air, and it seems like Default looking like, what the hell have I just got myself into? Like,
Absolutely.
think as he says his last words supposedly, and somehow ends up with the help of his family stabbing Goro with an axe. He ends up grabbing the kunai that he sees, and first of all, as he was getting killed, he grew armor. They literally gave this man plot armor. If you have to go to the extent of giving an actor plot armor to let you know that this actor will not die, you have no skills as a writer at all. This man's whole power was plot armor. You have this. If this is not a slap in their own face, I don't know what is. This is the most ridiculous thing I've seen in a movie in a long time, where the actor was actually giving plot armor inside of the
And just such a random accurate events though. Like that whole hookup right there. Oh, he also grows armor. Like, oh wow, really?
Now, as we first seen the scene, we was thinking, where did it go from his skin, or was it from the bracelet that was given to him? Because I still couldn't
Yeah,
figure that one
I
out.
was confused too. I was confused too.
Like, did he have
Absolutely.
this under? Like, is he made of this material? Like, what happened? Like, did he grow this? Like, did his skin reverse? And this armor was like, it looked stupid. Aesthetically, it looked somehow this guy kills the prince as the champion of Mortal Kombat. Wow. Wow. Wow, man. So he ends up killing Goro, man, and these fights take place. These random fights that you really can't even focus on because it cuts so fast. And honestly, as I'm sitting here trying to remember the movie, and mind you, people, we are not doing this with a script or anything. We're going straight out the top of our heads. We're going
Straight,
fresh,
absolutely.
fresh off what we see and what we remember last night or whatever. And honestly, I don't even try to care to remember what happened last night because I honestly want to forget this movie as fast as I can after today because this movie was one of the worst piece of garbage I ever seen in my life. I never ever want to see this movie again. I don't want to hear about it. I went since 1997 not acknowledging one film, and this film was so bad that it made me acknowledge the film from 1997 again. And matter of fact, after I get done with this, I am going to watch the film from 1997 again because I have a whole new appreciation for what that film done. That is movie that took 26 years to do still can't get right. And this film didn't even feel like a Mortal Kombat film. And let's get to one of the silliest moments of the film, and that was the Nakara, the Natara fatality. So we see Natara, and I don't know where she comes from. I honestly don't know where she comes from. No one has even spoken about Natara in so long. I think even the hardcore fans, even the fans who grew up with Mortal Kombat, who played through all the PS2 era games, forgot about Natara. I think these people forgot that she even existed, and somehow she pops up in the film. She pops up in this. Where? From where? Where did she come from? Doesn't matter because somehow Kung Lao rides her for 10 seconds and he gives her a split decision. That's pretty much the end of Natara. She lasted all but 30 seconds in the film. Why? Just so she could be a part of an iconic fatality? Is that the reason?
Yeah, I have very little to no memory of her. I do remember seeing her in a game before, but that was about it. Enough to get a scene. I never would have thought if they were like to ever do a Mortal Kombat movie. Who would I thought would have been in there? It would definitely would have been her.
You take out Johnny Cage, you replace him with somebody who doesn't even exist in the Mortal Kombat universe. You take you replace him with a person who wouldn't even survive in the Street Fighter universe. You take Johnny Cage and replace him with a person who shouldn't even be in the KOF movie. But you add in the Tara and Reiko, someone who was even unrecognizable. I didn't even know that was Reiko until people said that's Reiko. I'm sorry, I don't remember Reiko ever looking like this. Do you?
I don't even remember what the fuck my man's look like.
Oh, just to give you, yeah, he was the guy with the hammer. I thought that was Shao.
Okay,
I thought that was Shao Kahn
okay,
Jr. I thought that was Shao Kahn Jr. or
yeah,
something.
yep. Even my son said that, and you know he don't know who the fuck he is. Is that Shao Kahn? Son, I think, yeah, I'm watching this movie as a new movie, just like you are. I don't know nothing. I
Yeah,
ain't even, I didn't even want to call that Melina.
that was Reiko. That was Reiko. The guy with the hammers was Reiko. Yeah, that was Reiko. It's worse. That Reiko was worse than that Shinnok that was in 1997 Annihilation.
Oh yeah, yeah, I agree.
I had no clue that was Reiko at all, and honestly, what there's nothing to say about the guy. There's absolutely nothing to say about him at all. So we could just glance over that and move on. Now Cabal. Let's get into Cabal. I'm seeing people say that yeah he looks like Cabal,
Very
but
forgettable. Very forgettable.
people liking him to Bill Burr because of the jokes and the lines he had, which was the problem is the voice of Cabal was some of the worst crap I heard. Honestly, Cabal's voice was so badly dubbed in this movie that I didn't even want to hear him talk. Matter of fact, I tuned him out through most of the movie. So all the lines he said was lost on me because his voice was horrible. Who idea was it? And who was the audio engineer of this movie? Because they need to be slapped. Because that was terrible. And that mask, it's like he was wearing just a big old heap of iron on his head. Cabal, I'm sorry, was poorly done. He was. The hook swords was cool. Seeing him in the movie was cool. And they don't even go into the. I may have missed it, but they don't go into the fact that Cabal and Kano was actually in the Black Dragon together. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he did say something about Kano was the reason why he had to wear the mask and the respirator, all of that stuff, blah blah blah. But going to the lore, and now we want to talk about the new timeline in MK9. That the reason for this was the fact that was it Kentaro? Kentaro is the one who burnt his face, and that's why Kano had to patch him up or whatever. He would rather be dead than to look like this, but Kano is the one who saved his life. I mean, they don't really go into it deeply, but he does mention that fact. But it's like, come over to our side, Kano, blah, blah, blah. And of course, Kano switches up, which I guess if this is supposed to be a prequel to the tournament, I could understand why Kano was somewhat of a on the right side type of guy. But it's kind of taking liberties from the fact that he was an informant for the special forces, that he led them into a trap which got Sonya's partner killed, which caused Sonya to hate Kano and want to get revenge. All that. So I mean, I get that, but they kind of went a long way with it in this film.
Yeah,
Rather than, and they should
agreed.
have, and they honestly should have just stuck with that because that was a great setup. The original lore of the MK series was a great setup between her and Kano. They really did have to mess with that. But all of a sudden he was just this guy in her crib. They was kicking it and drinking beer like and making deals like what the hell is going on? I don't understand where this plot was going. And I don't think they understand where this plot is going, to be honest with you.
Absolutely not.
Mm,
Absolutely not.
yeah. So I mean I mean Mortal Kombat 2021 is not even a fun movie to watch. From Raiden horrible performance to the weird aesthetics. What everybody looked at was from Harry Potter or Xena Warrior Princess. Like, where did these outfits come from? Where did these outfits come from? Why does everybody know they was part of the Harry Potter lore? Shang Tsung looked like he was a part of like he should have been in a Dynasty Warriors movie. He didn't even look like Shang Tsung. Melina had chocolate on her face the whole time. Like Deja, what is all this chocolate on your face? Like that's what the hell was that? Then you like, then you had Reiko who was unrecognizable, Natara who lasted 30 seconds, Reptile who was actually Lizard Man from Soul Calibur. I mean, so yeah, Kano ends up getting killed. I guess getting killed. I mean, he got like punctured in the eye with this object from Sonya, who should have been dead by the way after getting all that crap crashed on her. I don't know how she survived that when she was like a 125-pound woman. But
Right. I
I,
agree.
yeah, I digress. The fight between her and Melina, it just, she got the ring. She generated the rings that killed Melina. You saw the whole spine, and the fact that Melina was in the movie without Katana didn't even make sense. When Melina's whole,
Oh man,
go ahead.
and just to throw out, man, that's my wife's favorite fucking Mortal Kombat character, by the way. And she was in hopes of seeing her this whole time. And I hated to tell her just how, because she's not a big movie watcher like that, and definitely don't really know the history of how video game movies has been done over the years. So she thinks once she's seeing you know what I'm saying, a Mortal Kombat movie, that she's gonna see the characters she's normally used to seeing. And man, when she just found out that katanas have nothing to do, not even mentioned, not even mentioned in this movie, like it kind of crushed her. And you know what I'm saying, for the record, she did not like how Melina looked, dude. She had a problem with that the whole movie, but somehow she really did. But yeah, man, the absence of Katana, man, it made no sense to me. And like I been stating, dude, like the casting for this movie is such a misdirect. It so is. It's like they could have really done something great. At least my thing is this: if we don't have no hopes of it being actually a good movie, at least get the casting right. At least get the casting right. Like I really didn't like going back to Jets. I really didn't like the casting for that guy. You know what I'm saying? Again, if you're gonna have that black guy in the movie, not to even throw in a race thing a little bit, but do we have to be this whole just say something out of nowhere that a black guy would say? Do we have to do that? Because it seemed like that's the only purpose he really served. Remember, you asked his purpose. You said, why was he in there? That seemed like he was just the black guy to just say random black shit every once in a while.
I mean, speaking of Jax, going into his Arcana, Jax in the original timeline, right? That Jax got these arms, to enhance, it was enhanced tech that he actually voluntarily did to strengthen himself and to be able to fight the forces of the outworld or whatever the case like that. Same thing with Sonya's rings. Her rings regenerated, right? So
Yeah, I'm still as confused how she got that. I'm not sure.
it was said by John Tobias that it was her cheese. Some people argue that it was her bracelets, which I personally agree was the bracelets that generated. They was special forces tech that generated these rings. And so in this film, Sub Zero is the one who destroys Jack's arms by freezing them and then exploding them. And I have a problem with the way Jax handled that. That actor, I'm saying you get your arms just crushed off, and you just fall over. That's it. It was weird. So we see Jax. He finally gets his arms, and those arms look like they were made for a child or a midget. I don't understand why the arm. I mean, I guess because they. First of all, if you had the
Oh, you
technology
talk about those T2 arms?
dude, I
Those
just don't
T2
even.
arms?
I don't even understand what happened right there. I don't. I don't even understand what happened right there. But I said this cannot be his arms. This cannot. This does not make sense. I mean, do they not have the technology or the parts to make the arms bigger, or what am I missing here? So, so later on in the movie, we see that while Jax is trying to save Sonya, all of a sudden his Arcana comes in, and all of a sudden his arms just grows 2 times bigger. Is that how cybernetic arms work? They grow?
Yeah, I guess cybernetics have some mystic to it now. It's not just straight roll cybernet no more. It got some mystical powers, dog. Cause he straight grew them shits.
Dude, I did not know
As
I did not know metal could grow muscles. I did not know this. Maybe this is
obviously
why I'm not a
metal
scientist.
is ligaments.
Maybe this is why I'm not a scientist because I didn't know metal could grow muscles. Because that had to be the most ridiculous thing, even more ridiculous than default beating Goro. That had to be the most ridiculous thing I've seen in this film. That made no sense whatsoever. So he was so distraught by the fact that his friend might die, which by the way should have been dead after being crushed for that long, whatever, that his cybernetics grew. into full man size. I can't even begin to describe how stupid this was, man. I can't even begin to describe how dumb that was, bro. I can't. It came out of absolutely nowhere. It
Yeah,
made
all the way. I agree. All the way left field with that. All the way. For the simple fact, you know what I'm saying? Like now, you know what I'm saying? I like to watch the reaction of younger kids or whatever, just to see like how their reaction's gonna be. And any two times that your 10-year old it does not agree with anything that's going on in this film, you know what I'm saying? That says a lot. And again, you know what I'm saying? Like me and C Ray stated, you know what I'm saying? We've been, you know what I'm saying, fans of this since the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Way before my son was thought of. So for him to say, Daddy, you know, I'd rather just play the damn game than watch it, like that says a lot. And I listen to him when he says that, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, dude, this is a sign of definite disappointment right here. Definite.
I didn't get it. I just did not get it. I didn't get it. So man, we come to the end of the film where Sub Zero faces off against Scorpion. And again, we mentioned the fact that somehow Scorpion, this whole journey to becoming Scorpion just came out of nowhere. Like, he just appeared, Scorpion. So yeah, we end up in this frozen gym, back to where Cole, we first saw Cole in the movie, back to the gym, and chasing down Sub Zero, and he see his family frozen, and all these people frozen or whatever, and yeah, I mean, considering the threat Sub Zero was, but of course he had plot armor, so somehow Sub Zero was going to beat plot armor. I mean, there was no match for plot armor. Anyway,
That armor, man.
at the growing tonfas and
Look
all
like
this stuff, man.
scales. It literally looked like that's what it was.
And
Looked
like
like he was growing into some kind of lizard.
he was training with Aquaman. Like, what the hell was that? Anyway, man.
Absolutely. He
Um,
definitely could breathe underwater with that, I guarantee you.
God, and so yeah, and then Scorpion appears, and as Sub Zero is about to kill Default, we see the spear pierce Sub Zero, so we know who it is at this point. Like, yes, we're about to see the whole point of sitting through this trash entire movie just to get to the last part of this film where we see Sub Zero and Scorpion go head to head. And as you expect, man, of course, the fight was pretty cool, man. Like, hey,
Oh yeah,
the
absolutely.
fight,
Top. I agree.
the whole reason anybody wanted to watch this movie, which is why they put out this 7-minute scene at the beginning of the film, because it really was the bait and switch, because we expecting to see Sub Zero and Scorpion throughout the film, and see Scorpion's journey to becoming Scorpion, from Hanzo, and maybe maybe seeing Quan Chi in another realm, like maybe seeing Quan Chi in another realm, and him being tortured or whatever, or trying to torture Scorpion, but he's like so strong that he's destroying demons and he's fighting all of this stuff. Like, that would have been cool to see, and seeing Scorpion as an actual threat in another realm. But no, what we see is, I am Scorpion now. In Japanese, like, really, that's how you became Scorpion, because I'm
I am
Scorpion.
Scorpion now. As this day forward. No. Didn't Sub Zero say something like that? No, I am no longer Bihan.
Behind, I am
I am
Sub
Sub
Zero.
Zero.
Yeah,
Oh, come on. That was so unnecessary right there. You don't need to quote your fucking stamp names like that. You do not need to do that. You do not need to reintroduce these characters at all.
it could have been done so much organically. Like, you could honestly could obviously have other characters point out that, yeah, to the audience, like, who is this person? Like, yeah, that's Sub Zero. Or as Scorpion was dying, Sub Zero or Behind. Back then they were behind. Yeah, whatever. Okay. As a moment, I'm Sub Zero. That's fine. As you killing Hanzo, I could deal with that. But having him say, yeah, whatever. The whole point is that at the end of this film, we don't get no journey, no insight as to how Hanzo became Scorpion. We just get, I'm Scorpion now. In Japanese. And the thing is, Bihan was speaking Chinese at the beginning of the movie. Then he went into Japanese, then English. And like, what the hell? What are you, bruh? And
Give
somehow
me one
people were
second,
supposed to
bro.
understand. Yeah, man. Oh, look.
What's that? What? Oh, we
Yeah,
getting somewhere. What's that? Let me just go
yeah,
grab me something to drink.
yeah. So as we get into this final battle with Scorpion and Sub Zero, we get no expedition, no journey or anything as to how he became who he was. He just appeared as Scorpion. Just appeared. So it was just a very weird and cheesy way to introduce that. Like, we understand who this person is, but yeah, for the audience, yeah, you may need him to say that. So I get that part to where, yeah, you need to you for the new audience who don't know anything about the lore, you need him to announce who he was. But you could have fit into anywhere in this movie where you had some kind of insight or journey as to where he went after he was killed by Bihan, because we see him get engulfed by the flames when he died, and that was it. You could have had a transition right after that or later on to where the bloodline is mentioned, and you could have got somewhere to what he was in the nether realm and how he became this person, what kind of deal he had to make to come back to earth to avenge his death of his clan and his family. You could have had something in between all of this. You had a lot of unnecessary parts of this movie where a lot of this could have been fleshed out more. Now, understand, under the time constraints, yes, we get it, which is why this film, as many delays as this film had, it should have been pushed back a little bit more. And it should have been given a bigger budget and more time to flesh out the story of Hanzo, to flesh out the story of Bihan, to flesh out the story of the clans. I would have gladly taken the clans, the story of the clans. You could have had Takeda involved, like the ancestor Takeda. You could even went the route of conquest where Takeda became Scorpion, even though it's already been established now that Hanzo is Scorpion. So it's somewhere in this timeline that you could have a Takeda who was the leader of the Shinra Ryu, or he could have been a prodigy of Scorpion and ran with that storyline. You could have had Default beat Takeda later on, and you could have added Kenshi into the film, whereas you wasted film time, you wasted actors on Reiko, and you wasted actors on Natara, who didn't even do much in the film, who was not notable in the slightest.
All right, I'm back.
So getting back to the final fight where you introduce Scorpion, of course we know it's
For
Hanzo.
the first time ever, by the way.
Yeah, not until the last pretty much 5 to 10 minutes of the film, Scorpion shows up. Like, this whole film started off with him being slaughtered by Bihan alone. By Bihan. Slaughter his whole clan and family. And you don't introduce him, Scorpion, with the guy you have on the poster. One of the main iconic characters of this whole series. Like, one of the major faces of Mortal Kombat. You don't introduce him till 5 minutes later I mean, 5 minutes before the film ends. This is a slap in the face. This is why that scene was released on YouTube, because it was the bait and switch. You was going in expecting we're gonna get this huge grand story between Sub Zero and Scorpion, the two most iconic characters in the Mortal Kombat series throughout the film, but you don't get no journey to Hanzo becoming Scorpion, and you don't get no insight into why Bihan is who he is, or why he joined the Lin Kuei, or why he did what he did to Scorpion's clan. You don't get any of this. You got Sub-Zero once again taken from the 1995 film, working for Shane Tsung. Why? Why does this continue to be a thing in these films? It went full circle. He was working for Shane Tsung once again. Does nobody brings this up? My word, why does this continue to happen? Why? My God, so they team up because Sub Zero is that powerful in this film. They team up to have to defeat Sub Zero. You know, what should have been Takeda stabs him with the kunai, and then we get this whole finish him thing with Sub Zero is staggering or whatever towards Scorpion. You remember this face or whatever, and he does the fatality, but we don't even get the full hood removal. We don't even get the full skull.
Yeah, I was really mad about that too. It's like they were starting it, and then it's like, come on, man. Like that's supposed to be straight skull and fire right there.
The fiery passion, the anger, the vengeance that you have stored inside of you all of these years, you were murdered by this man. He killed your clan and your family, and you are a specter now of the nether realm. You are basically a skeleton now, but you've been reincarnated as this specter to go seek your vengeance against the man who done this to you. And you don't even get the iconic fatality in its full glory. He don't even remove the hood. He takes the mask off. How many times did this man take this mask off during that scene, during that last scene in a way where he removes the mask so he could talk? Like seriously, don't get that, and you get the fire. Okay, we get the fire. Fine. This man Sub Zero is engulfed in flames, and somehow yet you can still recognize who he is. There's no skull, there's no skeleton, there's no dust, there's nothing. You can still. This man was they even half-assed the fatality, half-assed it. This man was even burnt to the crisp that he was supposed to be burnt to.
Yeah, just, just a horrible set of film right there, man.
The movie
It's
concludes.
horrible.
The movie concludes with Default taking his leave, being done with fighting to go seek out more combatants to help us. Even though in the beginning, even though during the movie, Kung Lao Liu Kang says basically says that this is all that's left to work with for Earthrealm. So this is the last we have, whatever, something to that effect. But I digress. Whatever. So he said he's taking off for Hollywood. Hollywood is a clear indication that yeah, it lose to Cage as he
Yeah, we
walks
definitely
off.
know where that's coming from.
Yeah, as he walks off, you see the poster of Citizens Cage, and yes, we see the
Didn't
I.
even have to show that, by the way.
Yeah, didn't have to
They
show it.
really didn't even have to show that.
Yeah, says Hollywood. We all know what that means. So it's they sequel bait, of course, because hey, in this day and age, right, we can't just have a good film. We gotta waste a whole entire film and budget on something that's completely unnecessary, as this movie here.
Or
To
like C Ray like to say, beat a dead horse with a dead horse.
beat a dead horse with a dead horse. And you see the iconic, but you see the belt buckle now that says Cage, so we know what that means. So supposedly, if this gets greenlit for a sequel, and I honestly hope it doesn't, because I don't want to see these people you make this film ever again. I don't want them to do anything near. I don't even want them making commercials for Mortal Kombat. And this dude who directed the film, his very first directorial debut, he done commercials before this. I don't want him doing commercials of this anymore. I don't want him doing anything near Mortal Kombat. This film was completely unnecessary. This film, from start to finish, was a jumble mess of what could have been a very redeeming film from the last horrible taste we had in our mouths when we first seen Mortal Kombat on the big screen. This could have been the technology is here. You have
Absolutely.
crazy
Yep.
martial artists in the film. You have costume designers now. You have all the materials, all the resources to create beautiful aesthetics, to go on locations and all of this, man. And you bombed. You bombed harder. You got this bomb harder than I'm going to make this joke. Did the Japanese in World War? Yes. This was a complete slap in the face to anybody who knows the least bit of Mortal Kombat, the least bit about the lore, who has played the games from beginning to now, from those who grew up in that era, for those who actually went to go see the first film, those who grew up in the era when the first film debuted. This was a huge slap in the face to real MK fans everywhere. Now, if you're going in not knowing the lore and you're a casual person, whatever, check it out.
Oh
Check it out
yeah,
for you.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I think it stands on its own as a film to give it to the casualized audience. Absolutely. If
right.
you're just now getting into Mortal Kombat and you know what I'm saying, at least been into I'll say this, at least been into Mortal Kombat from we'll say the Mortal Kombat 360 to now, yeah. Oh yeah, I will say this is a film for y'all. Absolutely. And that Mortal Kombat turned 10 not too long ago. Can you believe that? But
Oh man.
but yeah, you know what I'm saying? For definitely the hardcores, man, definitely the people that hold Mortal Kombat dearest to his heart, not because of the dip in the awful games, just because of the lore and the stamps and how much those characters mean to us just in our life. You know what I'm saying? To get resurfaced back on big screen this way is definitely one of them things you say, you know, the mistreatment of video game movies is still going on, still a thing. And you know, I honestly believe that this Mortal Kombat was just a cash grab. I believe it just
Of
was. You know what I'm
course.
saying? Like you said, like you know what I'm saying. It was poster bait. Sub Zero, Scorpion, Mortal Kombat. What more do you need to sell? You know what I'm saying? Now you actually get in there and you watch the movie, and like you said, the opening scene adds up to the poster. Adds up to the poster.
Yeah.
He got the people from the poster in the opening scene soon as the damn thing cut on. Absolutely. I want to see this bitter rivalry between these two who is bloodthirsty for each other, slaughter each other throughout the goddamn film. If it's not that, at least have that be the focal point of the film. But yet, you go as far out to introduce not only one of the worst ideas ever, but the default generic idea ever for a character, as if this is an origin story for him in Mortal Kombat, which mentions, of course, the tournament, have some of the stamps. So it's actually telling you that, yeah, we're not forgetting about what Mortal Kombat stands for, but let's focus on his default character right quick and see how he get his power. While promoting Sub Zero and Scorpion on the poster everywhere. You look, you Google it right now. Google the fucking goddamn Mortal Kombat 2021 movie. I guarantee you that poster is everywhere. Everywhere.
There's a reason why default wasn't on that poster. There's a reason
Oh,
for
he
that.
better not have been. Oh,
Yeah.
he better not have been. Oh, not at all. You can't give me a character and you know what I'm saying, and oh, he represents Mortal Kombat. For one, what the hell is his name? You could have put him up there alongside. Of course, we could have obviously seen that that was Liu Kang. Even a poor agent choice of Liu Kang, but we could have seen it was Liu Kang. We could have seen that was Kung Lao. We could have seen that was Sonya. We could have seen that was Jats. We could have seen that was Kano. But if that man would have been involved in that poster, who the hell is he? And then let's just say the background was still Sub Zero and Scorpion, you know what I'm saying, with these characters, you know what I'm saying, in front of the hookup like that. You would not have thought in a million years that the whole story will revolve around him. You would have not have thought that. Like this, an introduction for a whole completely new generic character. Mortal Kombat, really? If y'all want to do it like that, I mean, damn, you should have goddamn went to what y'all doing now. Special guesses.
This movie was the Sub-Zero mythologies of films.
Which is bad, by the way, but it's not though. It's so highly praised as like as a game that people should play, dude. So I honestly will say
For all
that
the wrong reasons, by the way. Let's get that out the way.
definitely all the wrong reasons
For all
because that game is
exactly my
awful.
point.
For
Exact.
having my own personal hands-on experience with that game, bro, like I could not believe that game was getting
And
praised like
even
that.
the
I was
acting
like,
in and even in the acting of that game is better than anything we've seen in this film. That says a whole lot about how bad this film is. This this would have been better served as a television series than an actual full length feature film. Seriously. I take Mortal Kombat Conquest all day over this. This movie was not for fans. This movie was
not at
not
all.
for us. This movie
Nope.
was a bait and switch. Let's be real about it. This movie was a bait and switch. You market Sub-Zero and Scorpion, but you base the movie around a someone who wouldn't even survive in the Clay Fighter universe.
Uh,
This movie was garbage. On a scale on the rating system of 1 to 10, really, I'm on a rating system of 1 to 0. This is a -19. This movie is terrible. This movie is not recommended for Mortal Kombat fans at all. This movie
I
is
agree.
this
But
movie
if
is
you had to do,
yeah.
if you had to do 1 through 10, what would it honestly be? No negative. No negative. 'Cause I know that's where you're going. But if you had to do scale one through
3.
ten,
This movie is a 3. This movie is a damn 3. And the only reason the movie is a 3 is because of the opening scene, the ending, and the portrayal of Sub-Zero Scorpion is the best portrayal we seen in live action.
I agree.
Even though somehow we still got Sub-Zero under the command of Shane Song somehow.
Still, yeah,
Still,
where did that happen
from
at? Still,
1995 to now, he is still under Shane Song's command. I don't see how that's possible, but okay. So yeah, we have that. But yeah, this is the best portrayal of Sub-Zero and Scorpion in live action Mortal Kombat. And we talk about films, not web series or cartoons or anything like that. In films. So yeah. And that was really the only saving grace of this film. It really was. Because honestly, aside from them two, because that's the only reason why I was even I can't even say I was invested in this film, dude. This whole time I was just pissed off. Dude,
I definitely want to see my man's Joe as Sub Zero. I did. I was eager to see that because I knew if anything, this movie was going to be awful, but not due to him.
behind the mask, the eyes, yes, he looked like Sub-Zero. Dude, freaking yes. The guy looked like Sub-Zero behind that mask. I was happy with it. Now the outfit, however, I don't know.
Wasn't blue enough. Wasn't blue
It
enough. I'm
wasn't even
sorry.
Sub
It,
Zero enough. It's like he was fighting in medieval times. Why was he wearing chainmail?
yeah, it wasn't. It was not blue enough. I did not really like that mask. That mask seemed like it was poorly attached. It seemed
It,
like his mask is attached to his hood. It seemed like that, but in the movie, it seemed like that mask was poorly attached. It
the
seemed like it
whole
was an attachment more than anything.
the whole outfit was bad. I did it like Scorpions. I did it like Scorpions costume. I didn't like Shane's. I didn't like most of the people costume. I did it like Sonya, the actress who played Sonya. I could deal with her. She wasn't a great actress, but she looked like
No,
Sonya.
no,
She wasn't big
yep,
enough for me.
that's much she got.
She wasn't big enough for me, but I could deal with her as Sonya. I could deal with her. I wasn't really entirely
And
mad at that.
I can guarantee you that's only because it doesn't take much to do a Sonya.
It doesn't.
It really doesn't. It don't.
You need a
Sonya is
blonde.
way more by appearance than you know what I'm saying than
Yeah.
anything else.
So I wasn't mad at Sonya. I could deal with that Sonya. Kung Lao, I would say Kung Lao looked like Kung Lao. That Kung Lao was awesome to me. I liked that Kung Lao. The hat was on point. I liked they even had the arm accessories that Kung Lao wears. I mean, I liked it. I like Kung Lao, dude. I like the look he
And
had. Yeah.
another pro that I want to give to that movie that I'm glad you brought up
Yeah.
is I like how Kung Lao was introduced. I like how he came. Did you see how he like appeared on the screen his first appearance? I like that. That was a really nice touch.
Yeah.
To kill him off so fast, you know that.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been robbing Kung Lao for years, so you
I
know.
mean, of course, in the Mortal Kombat universe, we know, hey, nobody's really dead forever. But the problem is, man, it's like, is this the route you really want to take? Is that you gonna just kill people out just to bring them back, kill them out, bring? Is that really the route you want to take, or you want to have some gravity to these deaths? Like, oh man, we really lost this dude. Like I mean, if you gonna just kill people to bring them out, I mean, then death really don't mean anything in Mortal Kombat anymore.
Never really did.
So I mean, so it's like, so what do you want to do? Like, you want to take this more realistic approach or whatever, even though the way you introduced powers made no sense. How you take a realistic approach to supernatural powers when they're supernatural? What is that? It doesn't add up, bro. 2 plus 2 is 19 to these people. This is what I'm saying. What route do you want to take with the film? Because right now, this film is a transmission. It doesn't know what it want to be. It's confused. And this is where I really have a problem with the film. It's confused at what it want to do and what it wants to be. If that was the case, honestly, I would have just really just took what Mortal Kombat Legacy did and went along that path rather than do this weird halfway realistical but magical. It makes it's confused, bro. That's the best way I can describe this film. Is confused because obviously the people who created this film and who worked on this film don't know anything about the lore, and it really shows. Which is why I have no hopes for the sequel if this movie is to get a sequel because now it still has no identity to this point. I would have just took Mortal Kombat. And the thing, what's so bad about this film is that it's not even better than Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And what's worse, it stole from Mortal Kombat
Oh.
Annihilation because we didn't even get to the biggest point. One of the biggest points of this movie is the stupid symbol, the tattoo. Again with this, do no one remember Annihilation. Again with this, you take. So we're gonna do the whole tattoo thing again, right? We're gonna just do that again.
Absolutely. Again, no explanation how they even got there or anything like that. What they just discovered this shit as they grew older. Like, when did that get there?
Man, this movie was a complete mess, man. This movie boggles the mind. And honestly, I woke up angry. I woke up looking at reviews to see how much it sucked. The fact that there's people who keep saying that if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, this film you're gonna enjoy this film. You're not a Mortal Kombat fan if you said that.
Oh, I heard one that said near a flawless victory. Near quote unquote perfect. And the thing is, this is before I actually seen the film for myself, but when I seen that, I said, "There's no way." Just from the trailer, because again, I didn't watch anything else, nothing but the first trailer. I didn't watch that opening scene before I seen the movie. I didn't see none of that. I just watched the trailer, and even from that trailer, I knew that this movie could not be anywhere near perfect. I knew that. There's no way that this movie was in the direction of being a masterpiece of Mortal Kombat. As in, like you said, if you're a fan, you should watch this. Because I'm still thinking to myself, for those who even believe that, must not believe in the Hollywood fucking goddamn treatment of video game movies. Because we all know that all them shits get robbed the same goddamn way. We all know. So who's exactly is saying this? Because I can guarantee you that these are probably the same people that said Monster Hunter was good.
Yeah, probably.
I can almost assure you that. Mats.
Wow.
No,
Let's
he
not
did say that though.
let's not even go there.
Which, by the way, he already stated that he's getting the vaccine.
Yeah, well, won't be watching Max anymore. That's for sure. But that I digress. This so I give this movie a honest. This movie is a 3 out of 10. Like that's the best I could give it. This movie is one of the worst films I've seen. It's not. I'm not just speaking of video game. This is one of the worst films I ever seen. This movie was a complete mess. And I mean, even separating it from the actual Mortal Kombat lore, the story made absolutely no sense. Poorly executed. The acting was one of the worst acting jobs I've seen. I mean, I've seen movies where the guy pretends to be a police. I mean, the guy pretends to be a piece of delivery guy, and then he takes off all his clothes and start doing other jobs. I seen better acting in those films than I seen in this one.
And we know what films those are. Used to be really good films, but just really sad now.
The acting in this movie is by far one of the worst acting jobs I've ever seen. For the for the most part, Kano was basically the star of the show. He was. Kano, Sub Zero, is the fight scene between Sub Zero and Scorpion and
Far as the
Kano.
only
Yeah,
character in that movie with a personality, I agree with you.
yeah.
Because Kano did show his personality versus, what I'm saying, of course, the stamps and the poster,
The
what I'm
guy,
saying, just coming there.
you could tell the guy liked being Kano. It was cool to see. I
Yeah, he
liked
did.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he really I seen an interview with him, and he really like is like praising and really responding in a way that he's actually, what I'm saying, graceful and showing his gratitude for actually being his character or whatever. So yeah, I can see Kano being one of those standouts in the future of this movie if it continues. But then again, what I'm saying, Kano's not enough.
Yeah.
Kano is one character in the Mortal Kombat universe who it seems like they're on track to get right, but it's like, what about everybody else? Like I get it. We could get a good Kano on screen, and we deserve a good Kano on screen. But what about everybody else? You know what I'm saying? Because if Kano gonna be the comedic relief of the movie, that's only one part. You know what I'm saying? Like that's it. You know what I'm saying? Kano the comedic relief, and you know what I'm saying, he's this arrogant, what I'm saying, mercenary for hire and all that. Like I get it, but again, that's only one character. We're gonna need a lot more than that. You know what I'm saying, to have this movie get over as something for Mortal Kombat fans. And I'm not even saying that as in a movie for people who just like Mortal Kombat. It's a difference. And that's what I feel like the people that are praising this movie as, I guess, a quote unquote good movie is, what I'm saying, is those people. Is those people that just say, hey, it's a Mortal Kombat movie. What more can you ask for?
A lot more. Like good acting, a coherent story, um, characters who look like the characters, better fight scenes, better aesthetics. I mean, yeah, there's a lot we could ask for, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mm,
It's a lot for non-casuals to ask for, maybe the hardcores,
mm.
but yeah, this is definitely something for the casuals.
Oh yeah.
And you know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, and stick to the lore. Gosh.
Yeah, we don't need all this change, people. Obama tried that, didn't work, but we don't need all this change. Okay, we just stick to what we know, and what I'm saying, just build off of that.
Uh, yeah. So my rating for this film is a 3 out of 10. I mean, and that's being. I mean, I'm struggling to give it a 3 out of 10. There's very few redeeming qualities about this film, and aside from those I named, there's not much I could say about this film in a way of it being good or it's going in the right direction. Because what I've seen is not. And unless honestly, we're getting ready for another reboot. Just like the MK series in the game itself, it's getting ready for another reboot because not even the game knows where the hell the lore is supposed to go from here on out.
Yeah, yeah. The lore of the video game is
It,
definitely all over the place.
it's been
It,
shot to
it's
death.
definitely
So if you want to say they stuck faithful to the
been
game, yeah,
shot to
honestly they
death.
did stick faithful because they were faithful to the game because now even the game don't know where the hell the lore is going. It's because okay, so yeah, the film did do right by the game because the film lore don't know what the hell it's doing. Hey, so yeah, we got that going for it. Okay, so there is hope. Yeah, man. So Bosco, what do you give this atrocity, man?
you know, I hate to sound like a repeat, but man, I think I'm gonna have to go with your score, man. I think I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 3 out of 10. Um,
Hey, so it's
and
a
the
six.
reason
Hey,
is
so it's a
being,
6 out of 20. So that's not bad actually.
you're right, it's on the board. It's like if you're coming off the bench and you get a point, you're on the board, bro.
Mm,
I guess if you want to go that route, bro, we
mm.
could go. We could do that. Hey, that's fine. That's fine. As far as I'm concerned, it needs it. It really needs it.
Yeah, man.
But
This
um,
this was
but
not a good
yeah,
film. Yeah, but so 3 out of 10 for you.
3 out of 10, and you know what I'm saying, and that's a weak three at that. Just to let you know, that is not a three because of deservance. That's a three because just to even say a two, if I was to give a film a two, I wouldn't even be talking about it. But just to say, okay, a three, all right, fine. But this film deserves nothing but the worst criticism ever. I hope this film actually get over as another example of how video game movies are mistreated in Hollywood and always forever will be. And yeah, it's just something I feel like the true fans yeah, we're not gonna appreciate it. And that speaks a lot because we haven't appreciated anything MK has done for quite some time because we seen the casualizedness that the route that it was going in and the caterance to what I'm saying, everybody else, what I'm saying, especially with the start of these special guest characters. It was cool it was cool at first, but then man, it just got too much when your whole roster is just people from other shit now, and it's just it's sad, man, and it's still, I'm not gonna even say making its way back towards film because it's been in film, but it's still on that verge of just saying that we don't give a shit. We just want to see how much money we can make off of using this name and some of the noticeable faces because that's literally what Mortal Kombat did. If you guys are going into this movie going to watch this shit for seeing the best on screen Sub Zero and Scorpion, then it's still not there. It's still not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a couple of meetings and literally a couple of meetings, beginning and end of the film, which is so sad. So sad. And the thing is that if I want to see, my thing is, if you're gonna put Sub Zero on screen, don't put Sub Zero on screen where he's intertwined with the real universe and he could just literally terminate everybody. Everybody is nothing to him. Hey, let's shoot this guy that's literally made of ice.
Mm,
Because that's gonna work. And that's the thing. If you're gonna put Sub Zero on the big screen for me, you're gonna have to put him at least with some competition. Don't have him just mangle citizens. Because that's really what it was, right? Like he was just mangling people. The dude walked down the street killing. Like what the heck? He stopped traffic and moved it out the way. Like that goes to show you that this man, they even said it. I don't know, this man is serious. Yes, he is amongst regular citizens. Like that's like bringing Thor on, you know what I'm saying, or even Superman on a planet where it's just citizens. Yes, like we really wants to see that, and that was there because at the same time it really didn't show off, you know what I'm saying, exactly what I'm sorry, Sub Zero is capable of and what Scorpion is capable of, and their bitter rivalry that carried across the goddamn Mortal Kombat universe for so long. For so long. And then here's another thing. The first film they were working together. For the
Yeah.
simple fact that it still have Brianna believing they're brothers.
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
She still believed that they're brothers, bro. Like I promise you. And it's many every time she says that, it's like, oh God, girl, I told you for the 50,000th time they're no relation. It's literally bad blood between these two. But
Yeah, man.
and that's the sell that they try to do. It's like they take these characters, and it's either A, we could put them against each other, or B, we can have them work together. And that's another thing that's been going on with the same two movies that was supposed to be like the highly praised, highly anticipated movies of the year, and that's Kong and Godzilla. Let's put these two together and then work together.
Oh,
And
man.
it's like they're doing that across all movies now. It's like as if they don't want people to give these people the people who plays the villain the hate that they deserve. It's like in wrestling. If they got a heel character, they don't want that motherfucker to get hate from the fans. They don't want him to get booed.
Mm-mm-mm.
That's just like that. For oh man, another thing we need to talk about. I mean, we could save it for a later episode, but we really need to talk about this past plantation work that Vince McMahon still got these slaves doing, bro.
Oh
And
man,
that's the
yeah, that's
past
that's
showing of WrestleMania. Oh my god,
that is
bro, it was so
definitely
bad.
another video for another day. Yes,
Oh man,
that's
dude, we definitely have to talk about that. We
yeah.
definitely have to.
Yeah, man. So I think this is going to conclude our review of Mortal Kombat 2021. Um, we both give it 3 out of 10. It's not a great film. We would not recommend it as fans to go see this film. If you have to go see it, I suggest. I guess I suggest getting yourselves ready and just going across the seas because this is not worth the money. It's really not. And it's not worth the money. It's a slap in the face of the fans who were basically poster baited, who were basically misled into believing this film would be about Sub Zero or Scorpion. But really, we're just you're running the mill. There's an evil threat. It's time to save your universe. And that's basically what it was. It just so happened to have Mortal Kombat in it. This is not that. So do not go see this film or pay for it. I will sit here and say that. This movie does not deserve your money as a fan. This movie is
And,
unadulterated garbage. It's a disgrace to the Mortal Kombat universe, even though nowadays Mortal Kombat is a disgrace to the Mortal Kombat universe. But that's another story. And we will be talking about that in another video. Because
and
Mortal Kombat
people,
has gone downhill.
let me just also tell you that if you don't believe me from being a stan of the person who plays the super damn, why I keep wanting to say him, Sub Zero
Joe
in
Tazu.
this Mortal Kombat 2021, night comes for us. And I promise you, if you want to see this man work, night comes for us. It's on Netflix right now. Check that out.
Yes, because these martial artists in this film did not get their due diligence or their due justice in this
Absolutely
film
not.
at all.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Watch
not.
those
Oh
and for
man.
those who are impressed by these weak fight scenes, go watch the freaking raid with Joe Taslim and then come back and tell me
Watch the Raid 1 and 2, please, people. It did come back to me and let me know what did you see in Mortal Kombat 2021 and
that
if
was
it
so
even
impressive.
adds up for 1% of what you've seen in the Raid movies. Please. And you want to see him, you want to see Sub-Zero as the star of a movie, Night Comes for Us. Please do yourself that favor and go watch those movies.
Because we will be bringing you more reviews, more live reviews with
Oh yeah. This is
with
definitely going to
films,
be the start of something. I
with
agree.
films that you all need to get outside of your comfort zone. Realize that United States is complete garbage when it comes to films. You want good films? Watch Indonesian films, watch Korean films, and come back and tell me if these films in the United States are good or just as good because they're not. If you want to see good action and actual fighting, check out The Man from Nowhere, which delivers a great story along with some of the probably the best night scene I've ever seen in my life. To this day, the night comes for us. Flashpoint with Donnie Yen, New World. These films you really need to be on your
Killzone
radar.
2.
Oh yeah.
Killzone 2. Eco's first movie. I kid that I can't say. Come on. I have all of them, people. I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, Tony Jaa.
I
Just
know what
just
I'm
type
talking
in
about.
Tony Jaa and see what this man
For
does.
the simple fact, yeah, Tony Jaa. I'll say type in Tony Jaa 2006. No. Type in Tony Jaa '03. Ain't that when
Ong, if you
got
if you
Unbox
never
1
seen
came out
Ong
'03
Bak,
or '04?
you never seen Ong Bak, watch the whole Ong Bak series.
Whole unbox here,
Yeah,
do
for
yourself a
real.
favor. The first
Yeah,
protector, people. The first protector. I'll say that.
yeah,
The first one.
yeah. Mortal Kombat, this is not it. Think it's time to go back to the drawing board and try again. And this time, actually study the series before you decide to make a film out of it. Because we already been suffered through enough. We had to live through Double Dragon. And there was only one good scene in that film. We all know what that scene was. Let's not kid ourselves. It was only one scene in Double Dragon worth watching. Anybody who's seen that movie knows exactly what I'm talking about. So, Mortal Kombat 2021 is so bad that it made me acknowledge Mortal Kombat Annihilation again. That says a lot. So to this day, Mortal Kombat 1995 is still the best Mortal Kombat adaptation we have seen.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
It still has yet to be
Absolutely.
touched. So whoever decides to give Mortal Kombat another crack 25 years from now, and sorry to say this, we're not going to be around 25 years from now. So,
Yeah, I was just about to say something on that. I got last too. Like, tell me how it was, 'cause I won't be here. I can
yeah,
assure you that.
yeah. So, 20, yeah, 25 years from now, whoever decides to crack, give Mortal Kombat another crack, please take notes on the 1995 film. Please study the lore. And please give a damn about the lore. Because you just want a payday, a cash grab, please direct the feminist movie. This has been the Couch Mob Gaming, and this is Mob Reviews with your host, Creative Gatekeeper, and your boy.
World Bosco. And before I get up out of here, they tried that with Charlie's Angels and it didn't work. So,
Yeah. So, man, until next time, man, this is the Mob signing out. We appreciate y'all for joining us with the Mob Reviews for the live podcast,
absolutely.
and let this be a lesson to you.
And remember, people,